Hi guys, we're gonna see about the data iteration. Okay, so we've seen there are various data types from string, list, tuple, and dictionary. So what is important among these data type is that whenever you need to manipulate is that means whenever you want to do the manipulation, right? First of all, you need to know how can you travel within their data type. Either it can be a string, it can be a list, it can be a tuple, or it can be a dictionary, or whatever the data types might be. You should know how you can do the travel. For example, I'll take a real-time scenario. So I am sitting like a principal in a college. Okay, so there are 10 classrooms. Okay, I want to see whether all the students present in each and every class. So what I have to do? I have to travel to all the classes. So what I'm basically doing? I'm traveling. So this is what looping is all about. So traveling in a given input. Input might be a string, it can be a list, it can be a tuple, it can be a dictionary. But ultimately what you're trying to do, you're going to do the travel. That's what we're going to see. And in today's topic, we're going to see the complete data type iteration. Okay. So let me take a string as an example. Python is programming. Now I want to do the iteration for this. So with whom I can do the iteration? Using the for loop. Okay. Now to travel among this data. Now what is this data mean? The data that I have at my line number 1. Let me add a line number. Python is programming. Okay. So I want somebody to travel to each and every letter. Why each and every letter? Since the above data type is in a string format, because of that get enclosed by the double quote on both the sides, it will travel each and every letter. So I want some temporary variable to do the traversing. Okay. So let me take like X. So where I'm going to do the travel? In. That means it is telling in my string. That's how you should frame the for loop. This is the reason why I told Python is very easy when compared to other data type in case of syntax formation. Okay. Now all the for loop should end with a colon. That is very important. Okay. What is important? All the for loop should end with a colon because Python is unstructured. Okay, so if it is other language, we could have heard the curly braces. So what does it mean? Whatever that comes within a curly brace might belongs to the particular loop. That's what we can frame. But here we don't have those structure. Python is unstructured programming. Like so for loop, if statement, while statement, class, definition, in few areas, right? We have to end with a colon. What does it mean? When you put end, after that there is some line that is gonna come. So as of now, since to give you the example, I'm just keeping it as print of x. So what is this x actually means? The variable that I have declared on the for loop. So what for loop will do? First, it is going to travel to p. It will come back and it will going to print p. Then x will travel to y. It will come down. It will print y. So to rest of the letter, including spaces. That is what very essential in iteration. When you want certain data to travel in a string, if there is a space, that also get included as a part of your iteration. So when I run, there you see every data got traveled. So what does it mean? It travels to each and every letter in a order, in a sequence. It traveled to pi. So after line number 2, line number 3, you're supposed to write some operation. But for example, right, just to show you people an example, I'm just given a print text. What I'm telling X, you just go the string and check the letter and come back and tell me what was the letter you saw that. So X will travel to P, it will come back, it will print P. Then it will go back to the next available letter, it will come down. So it is traveling to each and every letter and the same letter is getting printed. Okay. Now the question is that why every time when it reads the line goes to the next line P and then followed by Y and then so to the rest of the letters like T H O N space I S. Why? Because Generally, when you write something on the print statement, right? When it travels for the next time, the print statement usually keeps the cursor to the next line only. So that's why, because it travels to each and every letter and then prints, right? Each and every letter is getting printed on the next line, not on the same line, because of this print statement only. So what does it mean? Print indirectly means end of the line. So whenever you do some print statement, the cursor or the location will automatically shift towards the next line. This is the reason why data is getting printed vertically, one after the other. Okay, this is one scenario. If you want those data to be printed horizontally instead of vertical, you can use this syntax. End is equal to empty quotes. So function fi there you see. Now the data is getting printed horizontally. It is not printing vertically. Then you can do some modification. If you want to have a space between each and every letter, simple. Just give the space over here. You can see now each and every letter comes with the spaces. Why? Because I'm telling this, right? In future, you may have to see a lot of string based scenarios. There are cases where there are places where you may have to build a star pattern, pyramid pattern, the reverse of star pattern. In those cases, right, these will come into picture. How to give the spaces. It is not necessarily that you should give space only. Okay, you can give some star or special character. So what happen? Every time the code runs, it will add star along with this each and every letter. Okay, that's how it works. Fine, good. So this is very much basic. Okay, so what is that? I just declared a string. So how many times my for loop is gonna travel? This is important question. Now you just declared it here, right? So what happened in for loop is that when you take a data, if the data is in string, it will travel to the total length of the string. Okay, it won't keep traveling a lot. It will travel till the length of this special character. I mean, length of this string. If the length of the string is 10, then my iteration will carry only for a 10 number of time, especially in string. I'm repeating. If you're doing iteration for a string, then the for loop will only travel to the length of the string. However, the length, that range, your string is gonna do. I mean, your for loop is gonna do the travel. That you need to keep in mind. Another important question where most of the people fail to understand is that I told you, right, X first reaches to P, then comes back to and prints the statement. As soon as it prints the statement, it is automatically going back to the next letter. It is not going back to the old letter. It is going to the next letter. So to this process continues, right? So you should know how this is actually happening. Okay. So this is very important. Inside the for loop, there are two concepts. Next, iter. Okay, so next an iter. So generally in Python, if any word that comes with a double underscore on both the sides, that we call it as attributes. Okay, which can also be called as, so basically what this next and this iter is a inbuilt function of any Python. Okay, so what basically happening is that on the string as well as at the last line of your for loop, these two people sit behind the screen. So what they will do is that, one who's going to hold the state. That means this iter will stay there in the string. Iter is kind of a state holding. So what it's going to do is that whenever you travel to a specific letter, the letter will not be considered for the next iteration. That's why first when it travels to P, the next iteration automatically goes back to the Y. The next iteration automatically goes back to the T, H, O, N separated, because iter is one mechanism which is sitting over there and it's keeping the state so that the for loop will not travel to the existing or already traveled letter. Then here at the last line of your for loop, there is a mechanism called next. What this guy will do, every time it sees it reaches the end of the line, it will push the cursor, okay, the pointer, the iterator, to the string on the top if it is available. Okay, that's how this for loop usually works. as everybody sees, right, they can see the for loop blindly, but being a good programmer, it is better that you should know these kind of a basic as well. How does the for loop works? For loop works because of this specific concept. Okay, done.